everyone else. So Dhananjay, welcome to this debriefing session and congratulations on scoring a 760. It's an excellent score.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the entire team. Thank you all the people who have created this excellent curriculum. I guess I was completely lost before I actually started with my preparation of e-GMAT. But once I understood all the basics that are quite well covered in the e-GMAT curriculum, I was pretty easy it was for me. And then I actually did a lot of practice on e-GMAT, Scholaranium. The package that you guys provided, I attended a lot of the live sessions that you guys had. So I think it was a completely, it was actually the first place where I realized that, oh, this is what to be done. These are the steps to be followed by answering a question. Before that, I did not actually understand the technical nuances of what are the things I have to look for in any sort of, say, RC or CR or SC. So I actually understood a lot about how the course preparation is supposed to be done exactly. And that was, I think, a fantastic. Really congratulate you and your team for excellent material. That is how it is. It's probably one of the best.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's probably definitely one of the best materials I've come across. Yeah.
Okay. I will pass this on to Payal and Krishna. I mean, praise coming from a Bitsian and an Archit as well. All three of them are Bitsians, and praise coming from a fellow Bitsian, I think would definitely make their day. So
yeah, no, I've definitely recommend this to. I've in fact recommended a lot to my friends also who are currently preparing for this. And they have taken coaching in some institutions, but they are frankly not up to the mark. And I've personally attended a lot of the mock classes that those guys offer, but nothing compares to the material. Absolutely nothing compares to the material that you guys have put out there, frankly.
Well, I'm glad to hear that we've worked very hard for it, and the fact that we've been on this for a few years and working on this full time, it bodes well.
That's true. Yeah.
So let's talk about. I mean, you're a working professional. You work for the government. From what I really see, do you do travel?
Not so often. My role is more of managing things, coordination, sitting in. Currently, I'm working with the Chief Minister of Rajasthan, Office of Chief Minister of Rajasthan, and my work is more about managing projects. So managing projects, it does entail a bit of travel, but a lot of it is actually controlling the stakeholders involved, right from the ground to senior administration. And a lot of it is leading the way through probably thought leadership, as they call it.
Thought leadership. Okay, that's good. So you've been studying for GMAT for some time now. So when did you study during your working days, and when did you study during the weekends? So how much time did you take out for it?
Yeah, so I'll take you through the entire journey that I started. I started it somewhere in January 17. So January 7, I was planning to apply in for the 19th session, and I thought that probably I'll start. I'll give it 2 years. I'll give it 1 year definitely for my GMAT preparation, because a lot of my friends I knew had struggled with GMAT. So I knew it would not be so easy as a lot of people generally think it to be. So I knew there was a lot of time to be for the preparation. So I first started in January 17 by just going through the official guide. I went to the complete official guide in January 17, and I understood that I thought that I did really well. So then I just thought that I just directly jump into giving a few of the mock tests. Okay. In the mock test, my preparation, my numbers were quite varying. So somewhere I used to get sometimes quite well, like about 700. Sometimes I was not scoring so well. So I understood there that I think I need a more systematic analysis, systematic procedure I need to follow, so that I can actually, improve my performance. And I need to have consistency in that. And the consistency will only come once you follow a set of procedures for each sort of set of questions. So I knew that those things had to be followed. So yeah, I attended a few mock classes of a couple of coaching institutions in Delhi. And then I thought that these are not frankly what I was looking for. Then a friend recommended me to your curriculum, e-GMAT, a fellow Bitsian only.
Okay.
So yeah, so I just started studying through it, and I found that to be really excellent material. And the concept that they had given, I could study at leisure. So as you were asking that how I used to manage my time. So my working hours are that in weekends I'm pretty much free, but on weekdays I have office from 9:30 to literally 10 o'clock in the night. A
Wow.
lot of time, yeah, a lot of time goes in work. So so time was a big issue. So I used to study majorly in the mornings because that's when I was at my most fresh.
So when would
And
you get up?
yeah, so I used to get up at around in the initial days. I used to get up at around 6 o'clock, I would say, and I generally am a morning person, so I generally used to get up at 6 o'clock, and from 6 o'clock to say 8 o'clock, 7:30 or 8 o'clock, 1.5 or 2 hours, I generally just used to go through the videos that you had put out. I generally used to spend 2 hours a day. That's it. After that, during office, I did not get much time. And once I was back, I was so tired. I was not able to finish everything. So I used to study mostly in the mornings on the weekdays, and in the weekends, then I used to study a lot. On the weekends, I used to study for, I guess, at least initially I was 6 hours for sure. So
Okay.
6 hours I was studying. I started studying.
Okay. So was your preparation like phases of concentrated study?
Yeah. So initially, what I was understanding that so first was discovery. I need to really discover what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses. So a lot of time went into that. I went through section by section of the curriculum, and I understood that my strength was quant as an engineer. My strength was quant as a and verbal was not exactly my strength. So I needed to focus more upon my verbal. So I used to have a concentrated time I used to prefer doing quants over the weekdays, and I used to leave for the weekends the verbal sections.
Okay.
So I used to give like 6 hours at one stretch. My goal over 2 days, 12 hours, my goal was to finish a major chunk of say critical reasoning.
Okay.
So that's how I used to keep it targeted over the weekends that my goal was to finish this much things over the weekend for critical reasoning. So that's how I finished it.
Okay. All right. So when you started, and you rightly, I mean, as bits and quant would be your strength. At least
Yeah.
quant would be your strength, is what I would say.
Yeah.
So as you went through verbal, and you'd started from the official guide before. So how
Yeah.
did your approach change from, hey, starting from the official guide and attempting questions then to now then going through the course and then attempting questions after that?
Yeah. So first of the thing, I understood in official guide when I did the questions, I understood that maths is something I can do. Quant is fairly not so much of a problematic area. Verbal is more of a problematic area. Is what I identified after doing the official guide. Then I came to the e-GMAT Scholaranium, e-GMAT curriculum, and I started with verbal first. So my approach was frankly what I understood that what I am doing in OG was not right thing, that what was not the right procedure to follow. So I actually just left that.
So what
And
were you doing? I think let's talk about that. So
okay. So I was
for
actually what I
sentence
was
correction, for example.
yeah, sentence correction. So as you guys always mentioned that what I used to do was I used to read the entire sentences. I never had that knack of finding the error and then eliminating it. I just to read the entire sentence, and then I used to put the entire option A is the same one. Option B, I used to put it back into the sentence correction sentence, and again I used to read it in my mind. That is this the right thing? Does it feel right? I never knew the concept of say a subject verb error or those things. Like I just used to go by my gut instinct in sentence correction that this is sounding more right, this is sounding more wrong. So that was frankly a absolutely wrong thing to follow. But I used to just follow that for sentence correction.
Okay.
For critical reasoning, I again used to follow my gut instinct. Like if does this sound right? Is this making more sense than this one, or should it be more of this one? And other mistake that I used to do in critical reasoning was I used to read the passage first and then go to the question. Whereas I think reading the question first and then going to the passage made more sense for me later on because it saved a lot of time for me. But I used to read the passage first, and then I used to read the question. Then I used to read each of the options, and then again used to try and fit which one is making more sense to me. So there was no procedure, frankly. That's the biggest error that I made, was there was no procedure of following questions, answering questions.
Okay. So, and then once you started with the e-GMAT course, so how did you, let's say, approach sentence correction questions or critical reasoning questions?
Yeah, so for sentence correction, I used to then look after for, I think all the topics are covered in the e-GMAT curriculum. I understood that subject, verb, pronoun, modifier, these are all important subjects. So these are all important errors that you identify in a sentence correction question. You have to first understand those things. So first I actually went and I actually spent a lot of time in understanding those things. So what does a modify exactly what mean? What are the errors that could be there potentially in a sort of modifier question? Once you get the understanding of all those things, then I started actually looking out for those errors in a question. So if in a question there is an error about subject verb, like this and are is not fitting together, so I quickly identified that error, that this is not making sense. I never proceeded to the options for it. I used to sit and identify what are the errors in the basic sentence. Is it a subject verb error? It is a pronoun error? Is it modified error? All the errors that are there. And then I just used to eliminate the questions eliminate the options. And then once all the options were eliminated, there were generally two options which were remaining, which were one of those would be the right one of them. There would be two quite close of them together. So then I just sat and I just used to understand really setly which one is the right one, and finally I arrive at the right answer. So
okay.
Systematic procedure I used to follow.
What about critical reasoning?
Critical reasoning was probably, for me, I think it was one of the toughest. It was the toughest section. I used to find the critical reasoning one. So the major key which I really found in critical reasoning was read the question first. What is the question? What is it asking? Is it a strengthener? Is it a weakener? Just get that out of the way first. Then you go to the passage, and then you read the passage. That okay, this is making sense. This is not making sense. Whatever is the conclusion, the premise, the conclusion, the intermediate conclusion, all those things are very relevant. But you have to get the gist of the passage, what the author is saying. Those things are quite crucial. First of all, you have to arrive at the conclusion. And once you know these two things, then you start doing, as you guys said, the pre-thinking thing. That was really helpful. You just think, not for a long time, but you just get an understanding like that actually broadens your understanding about the question, about the sort of option that could potentially be. And once you have a basic answer like this could be one of the options, then you go and attempt the options. Then it's quite clear that okay, this is definitely not, this is out of scope, or this is something that is not what the author is saying. It's opposite. So it's very easy to eliminate 2 or 3 options right away in one reading. I used to just eliminate those, and then two options were generally remaining. Out of the 2, then you have to just make sure that you arrive at the right one by fitting it back. Like this is more of weakener, this is more of a strengthener. Like that, yeah.
So I mean, you got V42, which is 94 percentile right now, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, you pretty much did most of the questions correct.
Yeah.
Or you pretty much got most of these, when you were stuck between the last 2 ones, right?
I guess, yeah.
So did you get your ESR for the second attempt?
I have not got that. I got after the exam. What the report you're talking about?
That's the score report, not the enhanced score report, though.
No, that I have not got as of now.
Okay. So when you started preparing for the very first time, did you think you would score a 760?
Frankly, no. I did not think so. No, I thought that probably I wanted to always score 760, but I had nowhere thought that how will I reach there. Once I finished with the e-GMAT curriculum and Scholaranium, when I went to the Scholaranium part, that was actually an eye-opener for me, because I thought that when I was doing a lot of questions on book and pencil with paper, it was a completely different thing. And when you were actually doing on a laptop, it was a little tougher for me. But when I started solving the Scholaranium, I was actually performing really well. So that was a really not just easy questions, the hard questions as well. So that was the time when I started realizing that I can really get a good score. And I sort of knew that I could get a good score after the Scholaranium part. and I gave a few mocks. I was getting decent scores in the mocks also then. So that was a point. I initially I did not think so.
Okay, so you mentioned this one thing, and I'm curious because I've never attended these mock classes that you mentioned. You mentioned that before joining e-GMAT, you attended these mock classes from a few other institutes. So, how are the teaching methodologies different from what you've learned at e-GMAT?
Yeah, so I guess the difference, I attended a few of the classes. Maths, I did not attend much because maths was, I did not really wish, my focus was more upon verbal. In the verbal, what they generally do is, say in sentence correction, you have to really understand the concept like subject, verb, pronoun, modifier. These are all concepts. You have to build upon the concepts. What they will get into is directly solve. They will just give you solutions. Like, for example, subject verb question. They will just get it. They will just get into solving how you will solve a subject verb question. You will not give you provide the concept behind the subject verb. Why? They will not provide you basically the why.
The
They
reason.
just yeah, that's very important to understand, and it's actually very crucial because unless you don't understand that, you will never identify it in a paper. So that's the part that these guys generally lack. They will not really teach you. They're in a rush. They have a batch starting each Sunday or each month in a weekday. So these guys, frankly, they have in a rush. So generally, my understanding was that they were, and the teachers were also not, I would not say the best that you can find. So a couple of things I frankly didn't like about those institutions.
Okay, all right. So let's now talk about your next steps. So you plan to you've this at least from a resume standpoint, it looks really good. You have a great background with bits. A CGPA, decent CGPA 8.1. So why an MBA? And what do you want to do post your MBA?
Yeah, so actually, currently I have worked a lot in the infrastructure development space in India, and I think a lot of opportunities still exist.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we in our office we daily get a lot of, not daily, on a weekly basis, a lot of big funds and focus upon investing in India in infrastructure, and that is where I think a lot of the opportunity lies, both in the public sector as well as the private sector, and that is a space that really excites me. Infrastructure financing in India, developing that space. There are a lot of NBFCs, a lot of institutions that are already working towards it, but there's a lot of more scope. So that is one way, that is the place where I see myself working towards. And why an MBA? Because I think I need to, I have a good base, but I need to just polish it, and I just need to complete my management education. There are a lot of case studies that you understand, you go through. There are a lot of things you learn through them. There's a lot of colleges have great teachers, global exposure, and the network and the alumni base and the students that you sit with, the discussion that you have in the class. It just opens up a lot of opportunities, and it just opens up your knowledge network. So all of those things are available. Yeah.
So have you done research on which colleges do you think would help you in that next step?
Not, I'm just going through that process right now. I'm speaking to a lot of alumni, and I'm speaking to a few of my friends who are currently studying in colleges in US, and I'm really focused upon that. But yeah, if you can just help me through that a bit.
So I think two colleges that kind of to me go right off the bat is Harvard and GSB Chicago.
Sure.
Harvard has a huge this thing on public policy.
Yeah.
And GSB Chicago, I mean, very econ based school. Again, public policy is a lot of econ. Essentially, what we do when you think about infrastructure development is you're really kind of investing to make sure that your lower middle class and your middle class, and in fact even your lower classes, you uplift them.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that is related to the economies of things, and I mean, and the investments in infrastructure that essentially, I mean, the benefits that they provide you are way higher than the benefits that your regular business investments would provide you.
Absolutely.
And to be able to justify those benefits, to be able to model those benefits, I think Harvard has an excellent department that does that. GSP Chicago does that as well, really, really. I mean, I'm sure pretty much every top school has some extent of it, but I know for these two, or of these two, that they do. But the way I would go about beyond these two is looking at the professors who work on public policy. I'd look at stuff around Washington, for example. I'd also look at stuff in California where they do a lot of public investments. And again, look at the professors, the kind of work that they've done in this space.
Correct.
And so I think those are kind of the areas that I would look at.
Okay.
Also, so is your plan to come back to India?
I'm open to coming back to India if the opportunities are good in India. But
is your plan to come back to India to work in public policy in India is what I'm really saying.
Not in the next 5 years. I don't.
Okay. Because if that were the case, then I would have recommended to look at professors who have consulted with Indian government and are working at business schools in US.
Okay.
So there are a number of professors who do consult with them. When I was doing my MBA, there was this guy called Rangan who consulted with the finance minister, with Manmohan Singh during the early 90s when they were opening up the markets, and so he argued for opening up. He argued, or rather, he directly argued with the likes of Bajaj and who really did not want the auto market to be opened up.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, though that kind of experience is also very valuable because they will tell you exactly what happened when they were in the negotiation room. And that's one of those things that I would really say, I mean, that's another aspect of public policy where there are people who know of things and there are people who've been in the rooms. And when I've done case studies and with both these group of professors, people who've been in the room provide you a much more realistic insight into what was going on, what were the exact struggles. And so how did you make those decisions and that's kind of whether you're going into public policy or entrepreneurship or corporate governance in a public company or private company, I mean to say, or essentially a hyper growth startup. Overall, it's people who've been there with the founders, with the decision makers are the ones that provide the insights. So that's kind of my 2 cents to you. Probably that. So how are you going about your application?
Right now, I'm just focusing upon just getting through. I was writing my sort of essays, just giving it a bit of first attempt, as you say, just trying to think through the questions because a lot of my friends told me it takes at least 2 months, month or 2 months to write your essays, just think through them. So I'm just right now in the thinking phase. I've literally.
So you are not going to engage an investment consultant at all?
I don't know, frankly. I am not sure because should I? What would your opinion be?
So here is something that I can really do. So